Hello, everyone. I am back after a long hiatus. I think that this is the longest hiatus I've been on since I started the weekly releases. It's been a crazy few weeks recently. A lot of messed up stuff happened in my personal life, but that's not what this channel is about. So I will just chalk it up to technical difficulties making the production process harder than it should be. I should really take a look at horoscopes and what they say about July and August for me. Because this year and last year had me going like
Hey yo, what the fuck?
you wouldn't believe it. Anyway, I didn't stop watching my shows, and this is the latest one that I finished just a few days ago. Or last week. I was supposed to finish it last week on Tuesday, but ended up finishing it on Saturday. Last week. Like I said, technical difficulties. So, everyone, welcome to the Real Monsters Talk. For those who have followed the channel for long enough, you will know that the formula for this kind of video is that we talk about the characters, then provide some insight into what we thought of the show and some insight into what the show's production was like. That hasn't changed. It's worked in the past, so there's no need to change it. Sit back, relax, and travel back in time to the 90s with us and enjoy the show. First up, we have Aaah. We could say that he's the main character of the show. He's a childish, reddish, small kind of humanoid monster with long ears that often get him mistaken for a rabbit. He has the special ability to grow in size, or loom, like they call it. He uses that as his scare tactic. He's impulsive, irrational, irresponsible, and rebellious. His impulsive nature and rebellious actions often land the group in trouble that it has to get itself out of, or sometimes just him. And he has to get himself out of it. Then we have Oblina. She's shaped like an upside-down umbrella holder and has giant lips which are not very well taken care of. She is grotesque and speaks in a British accent. If you had to take a wild guess, yes, she comes from a rich family. She's the brains of the group and often comes up with the solutions to the problems they face, however simple they may be. She's also the best monster student in the school. She's always studying, always wanting to get the task done so that they can go home, and if she were to do things on her own 100% of the time, she'd get the job done far better and more efficiently than she ends up doing when she's with her friends. She's still very loyal to her friends, though. Then we've got Crumb. He's kind of a muscular dude. I would be too if I had to carry my eyes with me and my hands everywhere I go every single day, and my arms have to be straight the whole time. I wonder how he's even designed to be like that. He's the most cheerful of the group, and I wish I could say the weirdest looking, but that goes to Oblina. He's a social guy and tries to hold himself responsible for the things he does. I would say that he is as accountable and responsible as Oblina, but his incapacity to deal with situations using brains stops him from reaching her level. He's not an idiot, he's just not as good as Oblina when it comes to being the brains. He comes up with some pretty darn good plans every once in a while. Yes, the Grumble. He's the teacher and I guess the headmaster of the school that the monsters go to. I don't really know what he's supposed to be, but he has 4 feet and wears red heels. I like the sound that's made when he walks. Sound designers deserve a good salary for what they did there with him. He's a not-so-chill guy. He has an explosive temper and tends to be strict with his students, but we do see a soft side to him. He's one of those tough exterior, soft interior kind of characters that we see a lot in media. It's a cool dynamic. His voice sounded very familiar, and I swore I had heard it a lot at some point in time. I then found out that he's voiced by the guy who voiced Red Guy in Cow and Chicken. That almost blew my mind. Almost. The thing is, I had kind of put it together. I like how his voice can go from calm and normal to deep and demonic, or loud and intense. He's my favorite character in the show. The main antagonist of the show, or at least something of an antagonist, is the monster hunter known as Simon. He's a freak to the outside world because he believes in monsters, which he saw, but no one else believes him. He tries to capture them and always ends up chasing down Aaah. He has the misfortune of always failing and being ridiculed for telling the truth. He's very jittery, impulsive, immature, determined, and not very bright upstairs, despite his ability to develop all sorts of contraptions in his quest to hunt down monsters to show the world. So, on to the show itself. The show isn't really a big thing. It's pretty interesting, no doubt, but it's not really something I'd write home about. It's pretty decent entertainment for children. It talks about monsters that live in a city's dump. They live underground and their mission in life is to scare humans. They each have individual traits that give them the edge when it comes to being able to scare people. They have to do this because they live off of the fear that they bring to people. Don't worry, it's not in a dark way. They also eat in order to stay alive. It's just that scaring people also keeps them alive. If they stay too long without scaring people, they will cease to exist. They also have to keep their existence a secret from humanity. We all know what humans will do once they find out that monsters exist. They also largely are ignorant of what humans like and do. They use words like ugly, grotesque, disgusting, and more synonyms to describe things that they like. Those words are positive to them. I know, confusing. Anyway, the show was well received by fans and critics alike, and the show even ended up having a crossover with Rugrats. That's a big deal. I mean it. Really. What? I mean it. It was the first time Nicktoons did a crossover, and the success it had inspired others to follow suit. See? I told you that it was a big deal. Rugrats was also created by the same guys who created this show. They also created Duckman, which premiered in the same year as this one. Class B Suko, or Supo, was on fire in the 90s. The show went on for 52 episodes. It had a good run. The good thing about it is that it wasn't cancelled, it just sort of ended. It didn't have a proper storyline or anything, it was just the random adventures of the monsters. That's what a lot of what 90s cartoons were like. Or, wait, it was actually cancelled. Funny story, I had read from my main source that it just stopped and wasn't renewed, so it pretty much just ended. But it seems that it was cancelled for being too dark. Wow, that's a shocker. 52 episodes in, and then they decide that it's too dark? Seriously? The show was pretty nice. I can concede that a show about monsters having to scare people in order to secure their existence is a little dark, but the thing isn't really talked about much. It's just played off super lightly. You don't even think about it much when you're a kid, if at all. Sometimes adults mess up children's animation by thinking that kids will think about the shows the same way the adults are at the moment. But then again, wait, they were actually going to make a movie about it, and that was what was deemed too dark. Now it makes sense. See, the benefits of researching a show that you just watched as you write the script are that you get to see the plot twists and write them all down as you come across them so that your audience goes through the emotional roller coaster too. Just kidding. I thought that I could randomize some information since this show is also just a bunch of random adventures. I'll admit straight up that I wasn't really invested in this show. Truth be told, I never watched it as a kid, and I don't think I'd have wanted to either. Yeah, as a kid, I also had my reservations about the shows I watched, and honestly, this one seems like one of those that I'd avoid watching. I wouldn't be able to name a favorite episode, but I can say that there's one I really enjoyed more than the others. It was the episode where Icus meets a monster with a human face who was an outcast in the monster society and left to live in the human world. He was made fun of for looking like a human. He befriended Icus, who then exposed him against his wishes to the monster world once more. The good thing was that this time he was accepted by them and cheered. It was a different generation, got softer. It also turned out that he was an old friend of the Grumbles. That was a nice ending to an episode. I like that. I don't know if they had always planned for it to be like that. It wasn't the first time the Grumble met an old friend in the course of the show, but then again, it may as well have all been part of the plan and backstory from the very start. Right, Mr. Feige? Oh boy, I love that troll. Almost as much as I love the other one. See, it's like poetry. It rhymes. My favorite character was the Grumble. I liked him because of his voice. He could go from wacky and calm to low and demonic so suddenly. That was a talented voice actor right there. Yeah, I liked that. The show didn't give me a strong impression in the first episode, and I thought that it would get better with time, but it didn't. I persisted because I had already started it, but I will admit I spent a lot of time calculating how long it would take to watch the show until the end. Yeah, it wasn't for me. I finished it though, so that's something. I made the video too, and now I can move on. I guess that's why I don't really have much to say about it. On that note, I think I won't bore you with much filler content on the video to make it last longer, so I'll have to ask everyone to please check out our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and our blog for cool content. You guys will be amazed at the amount of work we put into our pages. They're really something. See you around, and have a good day. You ever find it weird how Monsters Inc. also has monsters in their secret world and them scaring humans? Yeah, it's just a thought. It was also thought that they were ripping off real monsters.